Desert update in Sulfur brought us Sulfies a lot of fun little goodies to play around with. We already went over the dozen trinkets we got. In fact, we went over everything we got, but we didn't go in detail on the new guns and what I think they mean for the future of Sulfur. And when I say the future, I kind of mean like the near future, because I have an idea of why they implemented them now. Not only do all three guns have the same style, but they also share the same gimmick of not eating up a lot of inventory space. With the Valet and the Farsight only taking up 4 slots and the Majordome taking up 6, they're much easier to hold on to than a lot of their counterparts. My theory on why they're introducing these right now is these would be perfect companion guns to have with you on an endless run. And I can promise you they're working their butts off to get revenge and endless mode to us as fast as possible, because I accidentally saw an endless mode test in dev mode. Now, it doesn't do anything if you click on it, you just go into an endless loading screen, but that means they are currently working on that as well as the revenge. Makes sense for them to divide and conquer. It's not a one-man team. They can work on different areas for different people. I think they specifically introduced these now so we can gear up and be ready for when endless mode drops, and having 3 extra guns in your inventory on top of whatever 2 you bring in is going to be crazy useful. And the homie King Khalid 888 asked me if I could make a video showcasing some OP builds with these 3 guns, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. They're not even the first person to request a gun build video, but we never really get a whole bunch of guns all at once. Like 3 is, I think, enough to flesh out a video, right? So this seemed like a good opportunity to actually do a gun build video. And I wanted to build all 3 guns around the same theme of longevity. Like a gun that you can depend on if your primary weapon breaks during an endless run. We don't know exactly how endless runs will work, if you can bring in all the gear you already have. I'm assuming yes, because it's an extraction shooter. Could be a different mode entirely. We don't know what they're planning to do with that. But this is going under the assumption that you can bring in your gear if you want. Don't worry, I made sure the guns were good too, like totally usable guns right now. I didn't want to just make some guns that are just gonna have 8,000 durability and that's the gimmick on top of another gimmick of them being small. That's not interesting, and it's also not gonna be helpful, and I'm not here to hurt you, sweetie. There's really only one rule when it comes to building guns in Sulfur, and that's if you're gonna build a gun, you have to give it a nickname. And if you don't want to, I guess that's fine, but you can at least request another Sulfie to give the gun a nickname, okay? Starting with the Valet, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Shredder. Look, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Easter egg in the game. It's how you find most of your melee weapons, alright? It felt fitting somewhat. I mean, I guess it was a few updates ago, but it doesn't matter. I wanted to call him that because he shreds assholes, man. What I wanted to do here was give you a nice primary gun that's going to work in pretty much any situation. At 71 times 16, this little puppy's doing 1,136 damage per shot, and it's a freaking SMG. If it's a primary gun, we're going to want to use a 12-gauge chisel because 12-gauge chisels are completely meta when it comes to building guns. They're super powerful. Same goes for the best scroll in the game. I mean, you can argue with me if you want, but Holy Fire is incredibly powerful. Railgun makes it so bullet speed doesn't affect it as much. You get 999 bullets penetrating, which is infinite. And then just for the hell of it, you get a multiplier for your penetration damage of plus 50. I don't even know why they did that. Plus 50%, sorry. Since it's an SMG, we don't necessarily need to aim down sights, so I put on Sender, which will give us a flat rate increase of 35, but disables aiming. Pause for a second, because what I meant to say was the Sender oil would give us a flat rate damage boost of 25, while reducing our RPM by 25%, and that would help with recoil. But I kind of just kept going on about no ADSing, and it just made the whole thing confusing, so I just thought I would pause and throw this in here. I'm so sorry. With that disabled aiming, we could put on Stable Hip for a 62% less recoil, making it much easier to control. And if we're already this far dug in, we might as well slap a pot shot on that thing and really make sure we'll never aim again. And then Tandem Oil is a great oil for most guns. You want Tandem, Gemini. Those are the 2 standard ones. It depends on what your damage is looking at. If you've got a higher damage number, you go Gemini because it's a flat rate minus a 30, and if you have a lower damage number, like something at 12 gauge would have, you do the Tandem because it's minus 15%. It's not too much of an impact, either one. Then, of course, if you're doing an infinite ammo gun, then you're going to want to do parallel mag because it just reduces your reload speed, but I didn't make any infinite ammo guns, so not on this one, surprisingly. Would make sense, though, if you wanted to do an infinite ammo gun while doing endless mode. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Oh, it's too late. I gotta do this. Mr. Shredder is powerful enough to take you through the entire game without any hitches, no problems whatsoever. It's a sweet little SMG. I love him. My little guy. This is why it was hard to make a gun build video. I mean, I guess I could just rapid fire them off. It could be a 4-minute video, but I also kind of like talking and having fun and having a little bit more juice in the creative process, so I don't want to just breeze by everything. And yeah, I mean, that is the way of saying I'm a yapper. Under the Farsight, we've got the Everyday K, and I don't know why I called it that, to be honest. I kind of wanted to design this one around an assault rifle, giving it an AK-47 vibe. By the way, I did put attachments on the Valet, which was a laser sight, reflex sight, and SRP-3 silencer. I only mentioned that because the Everyday K, which is so stupid, dude. It's such a dumb name, but it's supposed to be like an AK-47 that you can rely on. It's a dependable one, but it's not really an AK-47. I just thought the name sounded... I don't know what I'm doing, man. See, it doesn't matter if your nicknames suck. It can't be any worse than that. But that guy's gonna require a gun crank to make it automatic. Another SRP-3 silencer, the best attachment in the game. Come at me, bro. I don't care what you have to say. Laser sight and compact sight. I just think the compact sight is the least intrusive of all the sights. I'm not a big fan of them in this game. I do like the sniper one as well, but that'd be weird here. So with a really low mag size, I decided to put mosquito oil on. That's gonna obviously nerf our damage, but at the same time, it's gonna make it 70% less chance of us using ammo, so it'll feel like a much bigger clip sometimes, but it is a chance. You still might have a very short clip once in a while. It could be a little sketch, but it's 70%. The odds are in your favor. Obviously, the nerf to bullet speed for Mosquito means we can't use slow punch. It is what it is. I just didn't want a really slow bullet because it looks really silly. Throw on another tandem here, then we put on Spartan, which might be a little controversial. It's going to give us minus 50% for the loot chance. I'll explain in a second, but you do get a plus 20% damage. I also chiseled it into a 7.62 instead of the 5.56 because yes, you get more recoil, but the damage increase is nice. The Farsight only has 2,000 durability, which is really low for most guns, especially if it's supposed to be reliable. And since we put a Spartan oil on there, giving us minus 50%, I decided to just put an inherited oil for another 100% minus when it comes to loot. And that negative number only applies to when you're killing enemies. You could still find loot in chests and boxes anywhere else. Just if you kill someone with the Farsight, goodbye to whatever loot they may have had. Finally, I threw on a complicated oil, which will give us plus 30% extra damage. Huge increase there, but it will make the reload speed 25% less. Just like every day is a gamble that you'll even wake up, the amount of bullets you'll get per clip is totally a gamble, and if it doesn't go well for you, this could turn into a frustrating gun. What does that say about me in my everyday life? Oh no, is Sulfur becoming my therapy? To round out any loadout, you're gonna want a one-shot gun. Notice the end of that, a one-shot gun. Put those two together at the end so it's a one-shot gun. And that one-shot gun should be the Chrome Dome, which is the Majordome. It's like Chrome Dome because it's shinier. It's the better version because it's gonna one-shot all of your enemies. And if it isn't clear yet that I love playing with chisels, it should be now because I put a BMG chisel on this bad boy. And this thing does 3,330 per shot. Not necessarily the best one-tapper in the game. That would be a Breacher 8 of some kind. Actually, I got a Breacher 8 that can do almost 30,000 damage. It's gonna be her every time. But she's big. She takes up a lot of space in the inventory. This thing only takes up 6 slots, and it's gonna be a little bit more durable. Especially because they freaking patched the durability. Why would you do that before endless mode, bitch? There'll be more bugs. The Chrome Dome will be using a barrel extension 6-inch, sniper scope, and a red laser sight. I mean, it doesn't matter what the color is. It didn't matter on any of these. And laser sights can pretty much go on any gun because all they do is make it so your gun is more accurate while moving. There's really no reason not to unless you specifically want a gun that's going to spread bullets all over the place, which is a really fun strategy. I did the 6-inch barrel extension so we can bring the spread all the way down to 1.5, giving you more accuracy when you're shooting bad boys. And the sniper scope offers the biggest crit chance bonus, and in this game, when you have a crit, it gives you double the damage. So we could end up doing like 6,000 on a boss or something, which is really fun, trust me. Suppressive oil is one of the more interesting oils in the game because it gives you 200% less accuracy while moving, but that trade-off is fine when you get 300% more projectiles and only negative 40% damage. So I would use a gun like this at the start of a boss battle, see if you can get lucky with a crit and take that things down, blah, blah, blah. Take that thing, take the boss's health down to nothing. Jesus. Slow Punch is one of the best enchantments in the game, giving you 50%, so half of whatever your damage is, for only 50% bullet speed. Bullet speed isn't going to play that much of a role, I guess. I mean, it's not that important. You don't want too many or else it's just going to look weird or your gun's not going to work the way you want it to and enemies will just be bobbing and weaving. There's that Gemini we talked about. It's only a flat rate minus 30, and that's totally manageable when we have so much damage. If we did any percentages, it's going to be a much bigger take. And then Overclock clock is going to give us plus 40% more damage at the cost of 30% chance of taking our ammo. That's fine. I mostly want to use this against bosses or bigger enemies like hulks and forest. Speaking of which, always make sure to have your flicker with explosive on it, especially now that you can use it to kill the amalgamations. I don't know why you wouldn't have that. It's great for caves and them now. It's the best utility gun in the game. Then I decided to double down and put a multi-chamber oil, which will give us an extra bullet, but also a 100% chance of taking extra ammo. But the chance at 6,000 damage on a boss, especially when there's probably going to be some health scaling and other difficulty scaling throughout Endless, this thing should serve you fairly well. I hope you were able to get something out of the 3 guns that I've made here today. If there's a different way you want me to approach this, let me know. I've never done a specific gun building video. Also, make sure to share some builds you've made with these 3 new guns. The more the merrier, but remember, a nickname is good, or else I'm going to come through and nickname it for you. You've seen how bad that can go. Also, feel free to ask any questions in regards to Sulfur in the comment section. Those are always welcome, and other request videos are also very welcome. They make my life much easier. Just like the members of this channel who like to make my life easier by giving me and my family some extra support every single month. They don't have to do that, but they do it anyways, and it truly does make them better people, at least in my book. Everyone is really cool that watches this far. If you go this far, you're either like waiting for an extra bit of additional information or a recommended video, which those should have came up at some point. So, like, what am I doing?